With the progression of the land, what we do for whitetails and wildlife, what we do for enjoyment and riding machines around, I've kind of progressed in what I've used. You know, back in the day, started with a Kubota RTV. Back in 2002, my first ATV was a Kawasaki Prairie 300. I think that was in the early 90s, somewhere around there. And of course, what we have today with our Ranger, our RTV, and our Grizzly. And each one of them has their pluses and minuses. So I guess what I really want to do is I'm going to take you out and show our Grizzlies in the shop. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But I want to take you out and show you our RTV, our Grizzly. We'll talk about that a little bit. And then we'll come back in here. I'll go over those pluses and minuses with you so that if you're looking at buying a new machine this year or a used machine, you can try to see what is the best fit for your land, your farm, your deer hunting, your wildlife, whatever you do. Because there are pluses and minuses. You can't say one's better than the other. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But right now, let's go out and take a look. We're going to do some work today, too. We're actually going to take the Polaris Ranger out, and we'll talk about why we're doing that with our icy, crusted snow conditions down in our valleys and fields right now. But I'm excited to show you the differences, whether you're considering one or the other, and maybe what a do-all machine is out of these three, too. So let's go check them out. Now, we have a unique opportunity to compare some different machines that we use on the farm, and for us, we're doing this mostly for whitetails, wildlife, and just enjoyment of the property. You can see even over here we have some electric quiet cats. We love those. We use those for hunting, for getting in and out spooking deer. But when it comes to getting some work done, I'm not saying we don't enjoy driving around on these machines. We do, and we do go for some pleasure cruises. But at the same time, we use these for work. And I'm going to start out with our Polaris Ranger. And you see it's 1000 XP. It's actually a very fast machine. It'll go up to 60 miles an hour, not with the tracks. Tracks we're limited to, and there's a reason we use the tracks, but with these tracks, we'll limit ourselves to 20 miles an hour. We're in low, we're in four-wheel drive, and so we're utilizing this as just crawling around the property right now. We can use this. We have steep hollows and ravines, go down to about 350 feet in elevation change. We have a lot of steep terrain, a lot of steep trails. And so with the tracks, we can get down with ice, very deep snow, mud, whatever the condition. You can imagine with us with deer hunting, removing a deer out of the bottom, this is actually the only machine outside of a bulldozer or a skid steer or something else we could get down there that we can actually drive to an animal down below, or it's a matter of cutting and packing it out, cutting it up, packing it out, which we would do if we had to. But certainly I enjoy using the machine to get them out a lot more. We made some changes from the basic Polaris Ranger model. It's a 2021, and we added the tracks to it. That was a pretty big expense. I want to say off the top of my head, that's about $6,000. Now, as a wheeled machine, we couldn't use this for half the year, maybe even more on our property when you figure in wet and soupy and a little bit of slick going down on the bases. So the tracks were a necessity for us if we wanted to use this 365 days a year. Once it gets to May, we put the wheels back on until about September. Something that we really like about these tracks that was an added benefit is right over here, I have this water tank that I put in the back. Now, I'm not sure what the recommendation is, but we'll go up to 130, 40 gallons in this, in the back, in the cargo box. And then I have a 3-foot PVC extension that goes off the back. So when I'm filling my water holes, I can back right up. We'll use this to water our shrubs in the front of the property along the road too. So great water carrier. And when I have those tracks on there, it's incredibly stable and a lot safer on our hills. We have a lot of areas, even going into a deer water hole, where we're going on uneven terrain. You can see these tracks stick out about 6 inches more than the wheels do, and then much longer wheelbase. So this is very stable and utilizing that. Now, something I get a lot of use out of is the Polaris chainsaw press. So this is very, very secure. You can see this right here, very easy. Just pressing pressing the chain and the bar. It's actually between two padded sections right here. So very easy to get on and off. You just have to remember, of course, this is sticking out. I have to remember this all the time because you have a lot of tight trails. I don't want to take this off with a tree or smashing a tree into it. You can see we added just a cheap milk crate style cargo area here to hold our shed antlers. We'll put some fuel mix in there and bar chain oil. I have my chaps back here, but the tracks chainsaw. We do that all the time, and this is especially true during the winter because we're using our trails during the winter time. A lot of snow and wind, there's blowdowns constantly, so I'm never in the woods without a chainsaw. Then we step into here. You can see the hard doors we added right here, and I like the hard doors. I'm more of, I don't want something to fail, so I have a manual crank for the window, and that's important to me because I just don't want it to fail. I don't think the electrical systems fail very often on them, the automatic openers, but window openers. Then in the inside, we added a heater, and I can tell you from experience that it's interesting when you let this sit and idle, it's not really warming up. You have to increase the RPMs to warm it up. So it's not going to be like your car where you start it, it warms up. You have to move it a little bit, but it doesn't take very long after you move it to warm up. And with the heater in these Rangers, it wouldn't matter if it's a crew cab or the single cab like this, it heats up fast. And so we're out there in -5, 10 degrees, actual Fahrenheit temperatures. We just put it up to 1. I believe there's 4 speeds on there that you can turn it up to. And four speeds, we put it on 1. We never go above that. And we find that even with those excessively cold temperatures, we're turning it on and off half the time. Add the wipers, windshield washer fluid, and you can see my light bar on the top. And you can see where I'm pretty abusive with my equipment, but just from experience, you shouldn't go through a car wash. It was just a spray, self-spray, manual wash. But with this on the trailer, these do set about 4 inches higher, the tracks do, than wheels. Then I ran into the door, it pushed the light bar down, and had I been paying attention, wouldn't have happened. Obviously I wasn't. So something really like those halogen lights. We also added halogen light bulbs to the light kit up here, and it can be very low power without them. So between that up there, and then we have a couple box lights coming. The box lights go in the back here and will give us ample light down here. A lot of times they're backing into an area to get a deer out. So we have a great area for gutting deer, taking pictures, videography, photography. And you know, that's really how I use my Ranger for chainsaw and getting into the woods anytime I want to. We can go fast in the off season. Like I said, we have the wheels on from May to September. We're putting the tracks back on in September so that even though it's still dry, much easier for us filling up our water holes for the deer. And so we get a lot of use out of this machine. You know, I could put a sprayer in the back of it, but what we find is I love my Kubota RTV for spraying and some other chores we'll talk about in a second. This is a sprayer I really love, and this fits right in the back of our RTV. And so last year alone, I spent about 120 acres of spraying time in that Kubota RTV. What I like about this is we added a lot of features to the Ranger. You can have a wind shear, we use that all the time. But we don't have is air conditioning. That's one thing you can't add with Polaris, with a Polaris Ranger. There might be an aftermarket non-Polaris unit that you can put in there, I'm not sure. Maybe someone could add that in the comments down below. But we just have the heater in there. And then I put hard half doors on that during the summertime. We keep the windows down often, and that protects us from the sticks and brush coming up that would hit our legs. I've gone on a lot of client properties. And it's kind of interesting. I get to ride on every machine there is out there when I go to client properties. And then, like I said, visit 100 clients a year, roughly. About 1,200 clients, over 1,200 clients since 2005. So I get to see every make and model of every machine. And I really like those hard doors, half hard doors during the summer, because they're really helping out from brush rubbing up against you, and certainly briars and then sticks coming up and slapping you in the side. And so we went with the full hard door cab on this Kubota RTV. It's different with the RTV. Instead of a gasoline engine, 1,000 cc, this is you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say about a 28, 29 horsepower diesel. Might be a little bit less than that, but it is a diesel. We expect this to last for many, many years. A little bit cheaper overall than the Ranger right here, but we have air conditioning in here, and that's one of the big benefits that I use this for with spraying. These doors are sealed. If you have a window open, you can shut the door easily, but you actually have to slam it pretty hard because they're sealed, and that keeps all the spray and garbage out. I run this thing, diesel's a little bit louder, but I usually have my headphones in when I'm driving and spraying, listening to some music. And so this machine right here, base machine, is about 400 pounds heavier. It's very, very stable. It's lower to the ground, so we don't have as much clearance, but it's very stable for spraying on some of our uneven hills. I do pull our Packer Max Cul-de-Packer with it at times. I like that low center of gravity. It's got a pretty decent turning radius, certainly compared to the tracks over there. It's hard to say, you know, I talk about if I had to choose one over the other. I love the Kubota. This is what we actually bought first for the property. I had one back in the early 2000s, put a couple hundred hours on it, but this is something we use all summer long. Obviously with the air conditioning, it helps here in southeast Minnesota. We have a lot of temperatures that are exceeding 90 and 100 degrees often throughout the summer. It's hard to say which one I'd choose more than the other. For spraying, this is my favorite machine. For using 365/7, this is my favorite machine, the Ranger over here. We haven't really, you know, tricked this out much. We added a halogen light. We added a light kit to the back here. We added some lights to the front, so we have a little bit more light, and that does help in cutting up deer. This is a little bit lower box to get a deer into, so if you're alone, this also has a dump box right here, so we can open this box up, get a deer, pull it up to the top, and flip it in a little bit easier. So there's pluses and minuses of both machines. You know, this one goes, Dylan, what's the fastest we've gotten on this? Did we hit 28 miles an hour last year?
I've seen 28.
It's at least 27, but that's going downhill with the wind in a tuck. You know, that's how fast it goes. It doesn't go very fast. Normally when we're cruising around the farm, it's almost like low range with the tracks over here on the Ranger. We're usually cruising at 12, 13, 14 miles an hour. So for just going out quick and grabbing something, definitely prefer the Ranger during the summertime with the wheels. And we make good use out of both of these. So it's hard to say which one I like better. But for 365, we'd have to go with the Polaris. And then what we don't show here, and Dylan's showing you on screen, is we have the Yamaha Grizzly. Yamaha Grizzly is a 2007. I purchased about 5-6 years ago. I paid $3,400 for it. I really shopped around to get a good price. It's in the shop right now. And I have an ATV sprayer. I use the Packer Max, and what I do is I use those in combination all the time, especially for our buckwheat ultimate no-till food plot system that I began in the early 2000s. I like spraying and call packing at the same time. It works really well. So I'm spraying, I'm turning the sprayer off. It's just a simple 2-nozzle ATV 25-gallon sprayer. I put a little weight on the front. That ATV is very nimble. It turns on a dime. I can actually run it in 2-wheel drive instead of 4 when it's dry. I spray every other row. Just those 2 nozzles, sprays out about 10, 12 feet wide at the most. So when I turn that spray off every other row, I get great spray coverage, and then I'm packing at the same time. Where the ATV sprayer or the RTV sprayer, I'm using more in large areas, like I said, 120 acres. It's 20 gallons more, and it has 7 nozzles instead of 2, so the coverage rate is a lot wider. It wouldn't really be a fit to use the packer and that at the same time. That's where the ATV has a little bit of an upgrade. You know, our Yamaha Grizzly, again, we paid $3,400. We're going to pay $700, $800 to get it fixed right now. It's something that I can maintain and use for a long time. And with the price of used machines right now, new, even getting machines, availability of machines, it's well worth it to spend it, fix it, and it's still probably a $3,500, $4,000 machine at that. And we'll keep it running for a long time, and it's in pretty good shape. You know, these things, all of them, they last for a very long time, pretty easy to maintain. So I could say the ATV or the 4-wheeler is simply a do-it-all machine, but it doesn't do all very well. It doesn't master everything. For a spraying machine, this is incredible. For getting deer out of the woods and getting down in the woods, this is perfect. Again, we can't use that 4-wheeler 365/7. So those are the ways, you know, I'm sorry if you came here and you expected a lot more detail. I can even show you this with our sprayer. We actually wired it right through to the arm rail here. So we turn on and off our sprayer right here, turn the sprayer on and off right here. So we leave that on. I can easily turn that when I'm making turns and straightening out. You know, which one's better? I use them all three. I'm blessed to have all three. Very fortunate to have these machines that I can use. And we put them through their paces. These aren't machines that were given to us by a manufacturer or a dealer to test out and just play around with. We actually use these for work, and I take each one out depending on what we're doing and what they specialize in, then I'm using each one of them. We'll do a quick recap with the RTV and the Kubota. We have good areas for storage under the seats. There's all kinds of nails, no trespassing signs, ratchet straps. We pack these things in. Each one of them has a cigarette lighter, so we can actually plug in a cell phone charger or the outlet that it has on the Ranger. So we use these for a variety of things, but I hope this helps you, you know, think about, you know, going forward. And I'll even go over here. We have our Kubota tractor. You can see we have a B series over there. It's about a 23 horse four-wheel drive. We use that for mowing. Use it for mowing and brush hogging, but everything else we do, from planting 18 acres of food plots to managing our switchgrass, we use the machines for. The tractor we really don't need to use. I hire someone in to come and plant my corn for me. That helps us maximize what we can spend for each machine and make sure we're getting the most out of our time and resources and money spent to get the job done on our deer farm and acres and for our enjoyment, recreational use. Let's go see a quick recap of each one of these machines, but I hope that helps you make a purchase decision this season. How about a quick recap? Let's go over these because, again, they each have the pluses and minuses. You've been able to look at these. We've shown you a lot of B-roll from the Grizzly. Again, it's in the shop right now. Let's start off with the Ranger. Great deer removal. We can use it anywhere on the land. That's why I mentioned it's all season. With the tracks, we put the wheels on for the summer. We can go anywhere fast. We have good speed with it. I think it'll go up to 60. But we can race around the property. We can get to things quickly. We can move things around. Tree stands, trail cameras. We can just go out quick, come back. Also with the tracks on, of course, we can go anywhere, do anything. We have areas within our hollow and within our land we can't get to with a wheeled machine. And the tracks on the Ranger, to me, and I've had both, is a better combination than actually having a snowmobile. And it'll go places a snowmobile won't. It won't get stuck as much as snowmobile in deep powder, going uphill, downhill. So kind of a do-all machine. It really is. The RTV, number 2. We use it for spraying. It's sealed, it has air conditioning. It's a pure work machine. It's slower. It's diesel though, lasts for a very long time, and it's a little bit cheaper. You notice the Ranger, we have the most money into it with hard doors, a heater, all the accessories, the tracks, the wheels too. The RTV is a little bit cheaper, and it's more of a specialty work machine for spraying. We love our spraying with it. And then of course we have the original that I purchased in the first place. ATV is just a four-wheeler. It's a do-all machine, a lot cheaper. We bought ours used for $3,400. That's why we're fixing it right now. If we spend $800 to fix it or $1,200 to fix it, it's still a $3,500 machine in today's market, maybe in a $4,000 machine. And if it's completely fixed and running, I'd rather put the money into that, get it done, than buying a new one. We checked out some of the new ones between $8,000 and $9,000 for a Polaris. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing to do, but we'd choose to spend $800 or $900 and just keep going what we have. They last for a very long time, which is the same with all of these right here. You can fix them, repair them, work on them. I look at this ATV, a four-wheeler, of course it's the cheapest, but it's master of none. You know, the Kubota, with all the spraying we do, I've sprayed up to 120 acres total in 1 year, total acreage sprayed. And with the sealed doors, it's a blessing to have. The Ranger for deer removal, being able to drive it anytime you want to for the entire season. I'd have a hard time picking one or the other. I'd choose the Ranger only because I can use it 365 days out of the year. I could spray with it. We have hard doors, enclosed cab. I wish I had the AC with it, but that wasn't available. That's one thing with those Rangers that you can't add later. Repeat that, you can't add air conditioning. There might be some off-market, aftermarket. Someone can correct me down in the comments below that you can add air conditioning, but there aren't any air conditioning units you can add from Polaris. You have to buy the North Star and some of the bigger, more inclusive units that have GPS navigation, computer screens on them. So overall, for what I do, if I had to get rid of 2 out of 3, which I don't want to do, I'd get rid of the RTV and the ATV, the four-wheeler, and just use the Ranger. But boy, I'd be hurting with some of those other things. The agility of the four-wheeler, easy spraying, quick. It's a great unit to have with our Packer Max and Call the Packer, spraying and Call the Packer at the same time, which isn't something I do with the RTV because the sprayer is bigger. We'd have too much spray for the amount that I could pull and spray at the same time. I could pull stuff, pick up stuff with ATV, but not much. But again, if I look at all of them for me and what I do, I'd choose the Ranger. And the way we have it set up right now would be more of a do-all, all-season machine. But again, I'd be missing the other 2 as well. I hope you found this helpful. If you're making these same kind of decisions, maybe even one versus the other, you know, kind of looking at how we do and how we'll use it. Maybe you don't have to worry about ice and snow and 350-foot elevation changes or 400 in Wisconsin that we go to and climbing up those steep banks. I can mention, You know, again, something we pointed out up there, we put that tank, that water tank on the back of the Ranger. And with the tracks, it makes it very, very stable for filling our water holes as well. So again, they each specialize in one area. Hope you found this helpful making your purchase decision this year. And good luck finding these machines. Again, they're hard to find. That's why we choose to keep these used ones and keep them going. People are paying top dollar. Right now, if you order a Ranger, you're not getting it till October, November, let alone some of these ATVs, RTVs. It's going to be a long time and several months before you get them. And good luck with your purchase. And I hope you have, bottom line, have fun and you're safe out there. And enjoy one of these machines. We're fortunate to have all three. But enjoy them this fall. Have fun and have a great season. Folks, I want to make sure you check out my web class video series, whether it's how to design your food plot program or how to design your property in general. And we have a new one coming out that'll be how to hunt the rut. But these bucks back here are a testament. Some of these bucks go back to '93. They're even in different states. I urge you to check out those web classes so that you can help yourself, help your land, help your hunt. The link is in the description. And also for those that have tried them out, I encourage you to offer some feedback in the comments below. Thank you.